Camron and Mace have the hottest sports talk show on the black internet. It's called It Is What It Is on the Come and Talk to Me YouTube channel. And it is making rounds. It kind of blends what you see in the hip hop world, in the sports world, but more from a black man's point of view. And we love the rawness. And today we're going to talk about one of those statements that actually had nothing to do with sports. This particular clip is going viral all over the Pan-African world. And it was because of this clip that Camron is catching a lot of heat from the Pan-Africans. Let's check out what he said.
Listen, man. Hey,
I'm
man.
looking at my license. It doesn't have a color on it, though. It doesn't.
Because your face is the color now. What year did you get your license? I don't know. Different states have different stuff.
Year?
We don't even got to go into the license. When you go fill out a test when you're in school and they ask you this, that, and the third, this, that, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally honest with you. And I know we got to get back to our topics. We already a few minutes in. I'd rather fill in black than African American. Because Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't.
And Americans do?
Well, you're American, Mace. You're born in America. When you go to the Olympics, and when I say African American, you go over there, they call us Yankees and all that. They f with us, but we're not from the motherland. We're from America. So I'd rather say I'm a black American. When we go to the Olympics as a country, and somebody black is fighting from the United States, you don't say African American. You say American. You don't even put a color on it. It's an American fighter fighting a European fighter, or China or Japanese or anything. You're known in the Olympics as an American. It doesn't matter what color you are. You're an American fighting against somebody from Cameroon or Senegal, whatever. The point being is they don't categorize it when it's world competition, but when it's other shit, it needs to be categorized. So I consider myself a black American. I don't consider myself African American. And shout out to all my niggas in Africa. Much love. But y'all don't consider us real Africans. Y'all don't.
This is very interesting. Camron is saying that he doesn't consider himself to be African. He identifies as being black. He did give a shout out to the Africans. He just considers himself not to be one. And he says why. Africans don't mess with us. This sounds very familiar. It sounds like Yvette Carnell in Tone Talks. It also sounds like Tariq Nasheed in the hashtag FBA, Foundational Black Americans. Now, there was a brother on YouTube, shout out to the brother. We'll put his name in the video. He said something similar to this about when he identifies as being black and not necessarily African, he gets a lot of hatred for that.
FBA, a lot of hate for a foundational black American such as myself, from Pan-Africans, from other people, and I'm here to talk about that briefly. So, let me get an analogy one time, right? I see the sky behind me, right? If somebody walks up to me today and says, hey, the sky is red, I'm not gonna get hyped, right? I'm not gonna start puffing my chest out and start explaining. I'm gonna just simply tell them, nah, the sky is not red. Look at it, right? So I use that analogy because I wanna bring that full circle when it comes to this FBA African thing. And shout out to all the Africans, man. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Caribbeans, Africans. Shout out to everybody. I got love for everybody. I got a big tattoo of Africa on my chest, man. So we pay homage and we pay respect, right? But as soon as I say I'm FBA, people start puffing their chest out. They get mad. They call me dumb, stupid. These are Pan-Africans, mind you. These are supposed to be scholars and people who are intelligent. As soon as I say I'm FBA, or as soon as I take a stance as a foundational black American, people get very angry. They get upset, angry. They call me names. They call us names, right? And it's really funny to me because as somebody that's an intellectual or somebody that's intelligent, you should simply say, hey, you're not, you should be able to say, hey, you're not foundational Black American.
Then Tariq Nasheed had a conversation with a lady on the Twitter space from Ethiopia. And Tariq Nasheed made it very clear in this clip that Africans, when they come to America, they take a lot of stuff from the African American community, but they don't necessarily give anything. They isolate themselves from us. And so because of that, there's a friction.
Stereotyping everyone.
Ma'am.
Because no, wait a second, please. I personally, I just told you I support your work, right? I just told you in my family, everyone has a poster of Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther. In my family though, you see, but you're generalizing, saying that we hate you. And I think
I'm
creating
not saying
that.
you all do, but I'm saying generally there's a lot of contempt with a lot of people from your culture when they get here. And they set up their little enclaves and communities outside of us. And there's a narrative of stay away from the Abids and the Jarirs. And that's the reality.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Ma'am, there's a reason why the Ethiopians come over here and set up their own little enclaves in their communities where they don't share their resources with us. Now, they get resources from us. We'll patronize their businesses and the whole 9 yards. But they make sure that money doesn't trickle back into Black society, foundational Black American society. They set up their own churches, their own schools, so that money can funnel over to them. But any type of Black program that we done fought for, they'll be first in line with that. You understand?
So guys, this is something that has to always be discussed because a lot of people are on both sides of the fence. And I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been a person that has very strong African-American leanings because I am. And I was one of those people that didn't like discussing anything with Africans and then found myself moving to Africa. But I can see both sides of the argument. I can also see Africans saying that African-Americans don't deal with them. And because of that, they stay to their sides. Points are valid, and I get it. I understand those points. And people on Camron's side or people on other sides, I can respect their arguments. And if they want to separate and stay, that's the issue. My problem is with the Pan-Africans. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I see so many Pan-Africans jump out at people on either side, like Nigerians who want to stay over there and African-Americans who stay over there. And do you know what I see? I don't see Pan-Africans really pushing anything that brings unity amongst the people that actually say they're Pan-African. And that's the problem. The Pan-Africans are having an issue with the development. Those people who proudly say they're Pan-African and they want to see unity, you don't see it. Where are the conferences and where are the developments and where are the other things, right? And see, the thing is that as people in the Pan-African community, we're not developing as much as we should for those of us who say that we are on fire for the continent or on fire for Black people. What you typically hear are people who talk like that, then beg for donations. I'm talking about you, Dr. Umar Johnson. You hear people who talk like that, but they're self-aggrandizing and they're looking for their own benefit into Pan-Africanism. And one of the reasons why Pan-Africanism in some ways is failing, the reasons that you hear this, and I believe why Pan-Africanism in some aspects can be failing, because we have too many selfish people in the Pan-African community. The people who are on either side of the road, what they're pretty much saying, Pan-Africanism is a concept that doesn't really work. That's why there's a podcast on this channel with me and Dr. Ron O'Neill called Pan-Africanism Without All the Romanticism. And the reality is those people who are saying that Pan-Africanism this and Pan-Africanism that, and your actions don't show it, you don't bridge the gap. Pan-Africans have to be the ones that come up with the things that, like the business networking and the ideology of Pan-Africanisms, the schools, the bringing people together in the communities. That's what Pan-Africanism should do. And when they do that, and when you try to get the communities to come out and collaborate, then what people will see is, well, damn, maybe Africans do mess with us. Africans are just like anybody else because, hey, we got African Americans that don't like each other. But guess what? You know what? You got Africans that can deal with each other. You know, I heard even Brother Tariq Nasheed say on this podcast that, hey, listen, I'm for the development of black people worldwide. And there are some people that I love from Africa. It's just that, you know, I'm on this side of the road for these actual reasons. And I've seen people from Nigeria. We know we have the African Americans versus Nigerians things, and they say the same things. But the people who say they're Pan-Africans, where is our work, right? What do we try to do to bridge the gap? And you will see we don't do nothing because what? We just do all the talking. I'm a person that has been in this country and I don't have all the resources and don't have a lot of things, but I have done podcasts last year, met people, did Africa Day. I've been involved in Africa Day for years, not only here, but in Europe, trying to bring people together to bridge the gap, to get people to try to understand one another. And I find that we don't have a lot of Pan-Africans who say they are trying to do it. We have Pan-Africans who are saying they're Pan-African, but really your actions are talking like Camron, right? I don't want to deal with them dudes, but you'll say, oh, I'm Pan-African. Sad music, oh yeah, I'm a Pan-African. But you say it because it sounds good, but your lifestyle doesn't reflect that. You are not the person trying to extend the olive branch. Like, hey man, where are you from? Oh, you're from Ghana, or you're from Nigeria, you're from Liberia. Well, this is me, man. I'm African American, and I'd really like to get to know you. I'd rather to get to know more about you. And then that might also be like, well, that person might want to get to know about you. And I know, well, some people may say, well, we opened the door for them, or they feel like they opened the door for us. And again, it becomes immature when we have those conversations instead of just saying, you know what? As a brother, as a black person, let me stick to my word, right? When you're an African American and I'm living here in Uganda, I've noticed something. Whenever I do something and I do it, it looks good upon the remainder of my community. It makes my community seem solid, which my community is solid. We have problems like anybody else. The Nigerian community I've met is solid. The Ugandan community can be very solid, right? And when somebody from the Nigerian community or Ugandan community does something that is solid for me, it makes me respect their people more. But then again, if a Ugandan says they're a Pan-African and I'm a Pan-African and we are not working together in the Pan-African community, then at that point, it becomes like, well, Pan-Africanism or being African or whatever is a joke when we want to get mad at that. But what are we actively doing trying to build the Pan-African community? You will find that you don't find much. There is a lot of apathy in the Pan-African world. And I can't blame people who are anti-Pan-African because they've already put their positions out there. If a person is pro-Igbo or pro-African-American or FBA, their positions are already out there and that's fine, right? So we don't expect them to do nothing. And then we waste our time clapping back at those people when the Pan-African ideology is about work. It's about development. It's about bringing people together. It's about getting through hard times. Nobody said it was going to be easy, but it's about teaching people. It's about the community and not about you. We got too many selfish people that are Pan-Africans. And when we talk like that, we have those issues. So then we see like, well, you know what? That person don't mess with me. I'm gonna stay over here. Well, because they don't see the Pan-Africans putting in the work that will let people say, hey, you know what? There is development, or maybe they don't think like that. They're trying to bring us together. We don't do it. And those of us who say that we are for this have let people down in a certain way. And again, people like Camron that feel like the Africans don't mess with us. Hey, listen, that's how I felt. And to a certain degree, there are some Africans who don't mess with me. But whose job was it? It shouldn't have had to take me to go to Europe and change my mind, or go to Africa to change my mind. Where were the Pan-African events in Sacramento? I mean, cities like Philadelphia and DC and LA have done a good job to a certain extent by trying to do it. But, you know, I find out we don't see that. We have too many Pan-Africans begging for money, hustling people, lying to people. And you know what? And then people just get tired. That's all it is. People get tired. So what do you guys think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again. It's another episode here on Kinganda. I really appreciate you for all that you do. We're out.